Alrighty, we're here with Etiquette. He's about to do Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, as decided by you, the audience, with your donations. You can still vote for the Starmie donation, but the game and the starter have been decided. So, without further ado, take it away, Etiquette.
All right, thank you. So yeah, this is going to be Pokemon Let's Go. And I've got a bunch to explain, but I can explain once we start. So if we are ready on time, 3, 2, 1, go. All right, guys. So this is Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, as decided by you guys. Eevee and Pikachu are actually different categories. They have considerable differences in the beginning of the run, first hour and a half of the run. So we do have separate categories for them. It's not something we typically do in Pokemon, but when it's warranted, we have it. And yeah, this game is one of the more unique main series Pokemon games in terms of speedruns, because there's such a heavy emphasis on catching, as you guys are going to see. One of the main gripes with the game, from a casual standpoint as well as from speedrunning, has been the introduction of motion controls. So we're going to be using those motion controls to do a lot of catches throughout the run. Catches are also required because of gym requirements. It's a thing that's been added in this game, where every gym has a requirement to enter the gym. And one of those gyms does require you to catch 50 Pokemon. So anyone that knows anything about Generation 1 Pokemon, there are 151 Pokemon. So we have to catch a third of the Pokedex by the time that we get to Koga's gym. So it's a pretty big requirement, and basically the entire speedrun revolves around that. First thing we're going to do here once we gain control is our typical setting our options. Normal stuff that you see in speedruns: fast text, animations off. I did actually miss one of the options real quick. The important one there is movie skipping on. For the first time in Pokemon, they've given us the ability to skip cutscenes. They call them movies. Cutscenes like this are still going to happen. We're still going to have to mash through cutscenes like that, but there are some pre-rendered movies that we'll be able to skip throughout the run. There are 5 total. Not really a ton. They've expanded on that in the latest games, Pokemon Sword and Shield, but for this game, there were only 5 of those little movies. There are more, but we don't actually see those in the speedrun. So first thing we're going to do here is meet our starter Pokemon, Eevee. This right here is the point where Eevee's stats are determined, and because of that, I actually have a backup save file if I do not have a runnable Eevee. It's like a minute and a half worth of a reset, so it's honestly not worth saving and then getting a new one, especially for a marathon. It's better to just have a backup save file and get ready to do it. But you're going to see the first instance of catching, and one of the reasons I'm pretty happy that the marathon has webcams, because you guys get to see the motion controls in action. So just get told how to catch. Pretty straightforward. Pokemon are going to be able to move around while you're trying to catch them, and you're going to have to throw differently according to that. But when we get to some of those, I can definitely point them out. But for the most part, I'll be throwing just as you guys saw me. Some people throw in the opposite direction, so you can actually hold the controller out and then sort of pull up, and it does the same sort of throwing motion in the game. It's really personal preference, whatever you're comfortable with. The important thing is you find something that works consistently for you. And this is a method that I've been using basically since a month or 2 after the game came out. You'll also notice in the webcam, I have the single Joy-Con in a Joy-Con grip. The game requires you to play with a single Joy-Con. You can't play with a Pro Controller, you can't play with a third-party controller, you have to play with a Joy-Con. And a single Joy-Con at that. You're not playing with both of them. So you're going to see why I need the controller grip, but needless to say, it is very comfortable to mash when I have it in the controller grip. Here I have the Eevee, so I'm going to nickname it Jeff. And then we're going to quickly check its nature. I'll get into explaining what stats and natures and stuff mean in a second. Perky, perfect. Okay. So, if you've ever heard anything about Pokemon stats, there are a couple of terms that you might know, but I'll try to explain the ones that people aren't readily apparent. So, when determining a Pokemon's stats, there are IVs, which stand for individual values, and there's a nature. The nature of the Pokemon basically just says what stat is going to be better than usual and what stat's going to be worse than usual. There are 5 stats that get affected by nature, those being your attack, defense, special defense, and speed. And so there are 25 total natures. 5 of them are going to be neutral, which happens to be what I have here, meaning none of my stats are better than usual and none of them are worse than usual. But if I had, for example, a brave nature, that would mean I had plus attack, so my attack is better than usual, but minus speed. So when I'm looking at Eevee's stats, I want to make sure I don't have minus attack or minus special attack. Minus speed can also be bad, but you can at least deal with it. The second term I mentioned is IVs, individual values. Without going into too much detail, because they honestly don't matter for this run, your IV can be a number between 0 and 31. It's a hidden number for each stat that basically just says how good it is. And the reason it doesn't matter is the starter Pokemon are guaranteed to have all 31 IVs, meaning the maximum possible stat in each stat. So for our reset purposes, just the nature is what matters. Okay, so now that I've gotten through the starter Pokemon, we can finally start talking about like some of the differences between the two games. So I mentioned there's Eevee. Let's go Eevee and let's go Pikachu. And both of them have their strengths and both absolutely have their weaknesses. I personally think Eevee is an easier run. Currently, Eevee is the faster run. Though the Eevee world record is better than the Pikachu world record, so it's hard to say like which game is actually faster if you had an optimal run in both. Eevee's main strong suit is a lot of the moves that get given to it early on are normal type. And because Eevee is a normal type, it's going to gain the same type attack bonus from those normal type moves, meaning every normal move it uses gains a 50% boost. So Tackle here is actually 50% more powerful than it is if Pikachu were using it. The second reason, or the second big difference between the two games comes in at once we get into Cerulean City a little bit later on, and that is these starter Pokemon are actually special. So this Eevee is not like other Eevees. It actually has boosted stats. In addition to having perfect stats, it has boosted stats. But it also gains access to some pretty broken moves. And Eevee gains a lot more utility out of those moves than Pikachu does. The flip side is Pikachu only learns 1 of them, while Eevee learns 4 of them in total. So that actually wastes quite a bit of time teaching those moves, even if they are really powerful and really useful. So I mentioned I have to catch Pokemon, and you notice I just ran by a bunch of Pokemon. That is because the Pokemon that we catch are going to be very particular. In addition to wanting Pokemon at a certain level, because maybe they'll evolve in like one level. Like I'm not going to catch a level 3 Rattata if I have a chance of catching a level 23 Rattata later on and evolving it in one level. But catching Pokemon is our main source of experience. You're going to notice when I defeat this Rattata, I just gained 12 experience points, and I haven't even hit my next level up yet. Catching Pokemon is going to give us a ton of experience because there are a ton of bonus multipliers that get added to your catches. So that 12 experience for a Rattata gets multiplied and multiplied again and multiplied again to the point where like a normal catch you're going to be gaining 4 to 10 times the amount of experience you normally would get. The various multipliers aren't too important, like what the actual numbers are, but the main things that we're looking for are new Pokemon give us a bonus. when we're catching a Pokemon, there's going to be a little ring that like shrinks down. It's sort of like a timing mechanism. If we can catch the Pokemon at the smallest point of the circle, we gain another bonus. If the catch we just did was on the first ball we threw in that battle, we gain another bonus. And then the final bonus, or I guess there's another situational bonus, which is some Pokemon are going to be glowing, so you're going to see like a red and blue aura around them. Those Pokemon are going to give bonus experience as well. And then the final bonus is going to be the technique bonus. So by just virtue of playing with motion controls, I'm going to gain the technique bonus. The game is possible to play without motion controls. However, you have to play in handheld undocked mode, so it's not really possible to like stream in that form. However, the experience you get from... I ran into this one by accident. The experience you get from doing handheld mode catches is you just gain so much more experience by using motion controls. Now, conversely, with the technique bonus, if we instead do a synchronized bonus, which requires playing with 2 players, there's a 2-player mode in this game where you have like this support trainer that comes out, and you can basically throw with 2 people. If you do that and get a synchronized bonus, that actually doubles the amount of experience you get. So instead of gaining, I don't know what level this Pikachu is, but I think if it's level 3, I'll get 36 experience. Instead of getting 36 experience, I'd get closer to 72 experience. And that's going to be the big way that we gain experience throughout the run, is by doing every catch we can with 2 controllers. Which is why I have the Joy-Con grip. So I can slide my second Joy-Con in to the controller grip to basically guarantee that the 2 balls are going to be thrown at the same time. If I'm throwing like this, there's a chance that like one hand goes before the other and it doesn't get synchronized, and then there's all sorts of issues. But yeah, so we're going to be seeing that a lot throughout the run. I couldn't do a 2-controller catch on the first catch I just did, that Pikachu, because I didn't have 2 Pokemon in my party. In order to use the support trainer, you have to have 2 Pokemon available, because one of the other things that the 2-controller does is allows us to do 2-on-1 battles, which is just as broken as it sounds. I can go into battle against one opponent with 2 Pokemon on my side, and it's completely busted. The main reason we don't do it for every single fight is it can be kind of slow if you don't need to do it. So we really only do it in most places we save, a few seconds here or there. Very rarely do we do it for like safety reasons, but we could if we had to. And in fact, in a marathon run, I probably will do a couple fights purely for safety reasons. All right, so here we're going to catch that Pikachu. I'm going to catch both bugs. The item I just picked up is a lure. The lure does 2 different things. The first thing it does is it forces more Pokemon to appear. And it forces Pokemon to appear on a higher rate. But it also forces all the Pokemon to be at the highest level for the area. So every Pokemon that spawns after I use the lure is going to be level 7, which is very good. The bugs evolve to their final evolution at level 10, so I'm only 3 levels away. How many big donations do we need to pet the Eevee? I mean, we'll see, guys. Don't worry. We might be able to do it. So there's Weedle, and you'll notice that one gave me 150 experience, basically. That one was glowing, so I gained more experience because it was glowing. And yeah, so this is what the run is basically going to look like. We're going to be doing fights, catching Pokemon. Most of the fights are going to be fairly safe. There aren't really that many fights that can, like, kill the run, in contrast to, like, other Pokemon speedruns. But the main place that you lose time or lose your run is because you didn't get the right things to spawn. Maybe Pokemon broke out. Like, not every ball I throw is going to be guaranteed to catch the Pokemon. So there's always the chance that they break out and ruin your day, so... that's sort of where this run gets really fun and really interesting to me. The catches are routed pretty strictly, but you do sort of have some room to adjust your catch route on the fly. One Pokemon that is not able to be negotiated, really, is this Bellsprout. I mentioned that there are requirements to enter the gyms. Every gym has at least one requirement, or has a requirement. The requirement for Brock's gym is to have a water or grass type Pokemon with you. And fun fact, there are no water type Pokemon available before you get to Brock. So you have to have a grass Pokemon. There are 2 grass Pokemon that are available. There's Bellsprout that I just caught, and there's also Bulbasaur, but Bulbasaur is an extremely rare encounter. So you basically never go for it. It's also kind of hard to catch, so even if you see it, sometimes you just don't go for it. All right. So we have 7 Pokemon at the moment out of the 50 that we need. This is pretty much what we expect to have at this point in the run. And I will not be catching anything else before Brock, unless I happen to run into it by accident. It's not a requirement for the game, but a requirement for the speed run is that Eevee has to be level 10 before you get to Brock, because you need to have Double Kick in order to deal with Brock's Pokemon. Pikachu learns Double Kick at level 9, which makes it a little bit better to get through this section, but also you actually don't even use Pikachu for Brock's fight. You use the Oddish that's available. So instead of Bellsprout, Oddish is available in Pikachu. Right. So one of the nice things about this run is we don't actually have to buy that many healing items. We end up buying a bunch in the middle of the run, but at least at the start of the run, we're given a bunch of potions, and for the most part, we don't even need all 5 of them. Like, we may use 1 potion by the time we get super potions. The game also gives us a bunch of revives. However, we're actually going to be selling those for money purposes, so... yeah. Alright, so this is the Brock fight. Like I said, I need Double Kick for this fight. Brock is the Rock-type gym leader. He's going to have a Geodude and an Onix. Exact same team as Generation 1. And... yeah, Double Kick is super effective against it. If we didn't have Double Kick, we would probably have to use Bellsprout. And Bellsprout is a physical attacker, and these Pokemon are physically bulky. So it wouldn't even be like a very fast fight. The fight can be very fast if you have your Oddish in Pikachu, because Oddish is a special attacker, and these Pokemon are not bulky on the special side in the slightest. So you can actually one-shot both the Onix and the Geodude. But the most important thing that comes out of this gym is the TM. So every gym leader is going to give us a TM, just like, you know, every other Pokemon game. And Brock's TM is not a rock TM, like a rock type move. It is Headbutt, which is a normal type move. And this is where Eevee is really going to shine. Eevee gaining access to a 70 base power normal type move less than 20 minutes into the game is completely broken. So it's going to gain that same type of attack bonus, so it's effectively going to be doing 100 power per turn with Headbutt. And if you guys, like, to put into perspective with, like, other moves, like, moves that are 90 base power, like Thunderbolt or Flamethrower, are considered like very strong moves. So having something that is effectively 100 base power is absurd. But we're going to do our first shopping trip of the run. So we're actually going to switch really quickly to Great Balls instead of Pokeballs. Pokeballs do fine early on, but Great Balls are just so much better. So we're actually going to sell a bunch of our Pokeballs to have money to buy Great Balls and then some X items. And then some healing items as well. These are status healing items, not like HP healing items. So Antidote, Burn Heal, Awakenings, and then Paralyze Heals. There are a lot of things that can status us throughout the run, so... I need to sell... Alright. I messed up that shopping a little bit. Not quite sure where. I needed to have $500 left. Alright. So if you guys have seen any Pokemon speedruns before, you'll know that X items are featured heavily. Basically, there are attack stages, or stat stages. It doesn't have to be your attack. So, you'll hear me say, like, +0 or +2 attack or something like that. Every two stages on the positive side will give you an extra 100% power. So if I'm at +2, I'm at 200% power. If I'm at +4, I'm at 300% power, etc. And it goes up to +6. And X items historically have increased your stages by 1. So if I use an X attack, I'm now at +1 attack. Use an X defense, I'm at +1 defense. In Generation 7, which were the games before this, Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, they changed it. So X items would, instead of boosting 1 stage, would boost 2 stages. But in return, they made them way more expensive. So X attacks were like $1,000, X defends were $2,000. It's like insanely overpriced. In this game, they brought the price back down to where it used to be, but then kept the +2 stages. So now we have like $500 X attacks that boost 2 stages, and it's very broken. Correct. +1 gives 50% boost. And then +3 is 150%. So on so far. Going in the minus direction is a little bit different. It's like 2/3, then 2/4, then 2/5. But
do we have time for a quick donation?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I'm just letting everyone know that Discord is riding the struggle bus right now, so we may be having some connection issues on the hosting side. But we have a $5 donation from Saranac saying, because Pokemon. And that went towards naming Starmie, which is an incentive that is still open. Get your donations in for naming Starmie.
Alright, so I'm going to be doing a little bit of a marathon route here. Normally I would skip. There are 2 Moonstones that you can get in Mount Moon here. Moonstones are evolution stones that can be used to evolve certain Pokemon. There are 4 Pokemon that evolve using Moonstones. And we're actually going to be getting, ideally we get all 4 of them. However, there's only 3 Moonstones in the game. 2 of them are readily accessible here in Mount Moon. However, one of those in Mount Moon is down a kind of long corridor and is next to an item that we don't really need, typically. But for marathon safety, having the extra Pokemon plus the rare candy that's down this route is certainly worth it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. That is going to put me a little bit behind like a good run, but it's definitely worth it. The other thing that's going to happen here is we get given a fossil at the end of Mount Moon, and normally we would actually sell the fossil. The fossils are available to be sold for like $3,500. They actually sell for a crazy amount of money. However, I'm going to be picking up an extra money item to make sure I have enough money when I don't sell the Helix fossil, because having that as an extra backup is nice as well. I'll grab this. The three things you're trying to catch here in Mount Moon are Paris, Clefairy, and Geodude. Geodude's not super important. You really only need to get Geodude if like your experience is kind of lacking. However, I saw one that was glowing right at the top of the stairs, so I figured it would totally be worth it. Paris and Clefairy are a bit rarer, but are nice to get just because they are only really available. They're only available here in the game, so. And like I mentioned, we're trying to keep track of our experience and make sure our experience is good. Ideally, we're at level 15 coming out of Mount Moon. Oh, wow, that's actually really, really lucky. Come on, come out. There's like a cooldown from when you get rid of your support trainer to when you can call it again. So, because I had just gotten rid of it, I couldn't do much. Okay, so Clefairy's worth a lot of experience, and it's worth 2 Pokemon because I can evolve this into Clefable. Which I'll actually do right now. Another little optimization point is typically it's better to deposit Pokemon that you're not trying to level up to evolve, just so that they don't gain experience. As you could see there, it wastes a lot of time when Pokemon gain levels and learn moves and stuff, but there wasn't a real good opportune time for me to deposit, so I'm actually going to go ahead and do it now, though. Fall back to Clefable. I am going to want to keep one Pokemon with me, because there is a double battle at the end of Mount Moon. However, it's not going to gain that much experience. Oh boy. Alright, and I am level 14, which is good. Misty's gym requirement is to be level 15, and while you can do other stuff before Misty in order to hit level 15, it is typically faster to do Misty first, so... Alright, Lure wore off. Now I should... Alright, I was going to say I should see less Pokemon, so I should have less to avoid, and then I immediately ran into something, so that's swell. This is the ladder we typically do go down. One thing that we've actually started doing, which is kind of funny that it works this way, is so some items in the game, specifically hidden items, this Moonstone is one of them. Wow, I just got a million things to spawn all at once, and there's a Chansey and an Onyx, and I want no part of anything that just spawned. All right. But yeah, so those items respawn at midnight, and what you can do is you can basically set your clock on your Switch to roll past midnight while you're in that room. And if you do it correctly, you can end up getting 2 Moonstones by only going down 1 room. I didn't do that on this particular run just because it's like a very tight timing window, so. Yes, that was a Chansey. That is, Chansey is a Pokemon that gives you a lot of experience, and you might think that'd be worthwhile to go and catch, but it's very hard to actually catch, so it usually wastes time and, like, Pokeballs. But you also gain, like, unnecessary experience. There is a such thing as being too over-leveled in this game. Alright. Playing it safe to get around that Zubat.
Do I have time for a quick donation?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we have a $25 donation from Anonymous saying, "Highway to the Clefable Zone." I always gotta love when people take liberties in the comments of the donations. We love to hear it. I love to read it. And they also voted to kill the animals. If that doesn't sit right with you, you can do something about that.
All right. Yeah, we just continue to breeze through here. None of these fights are all that scary. Our first scary fight is coming up basically right after we get outside of Mount Moon. But we can talk about that when we get there. This fight here is just... This is actually a very scary fight in Pokemon Red. But not in this, so... Alright, so here we get to talk to the Super Nerd. This is the guy who's going to give us one of the fossils. I haven't been able to check my stats. One of the things is as you level up by catching Pokemon, you don't get to see your stats. You normally get to see your stats when you level up. So I actually don't know how good my attack or anything is right now. Because there's another factor that goes into stats I haven't talked about yet, that I'll talk about in a little bit. But if I was level 15 already, I would go for it, but I am not, so I have to use that X attack there. This doubles my attack, so you can see I almost one-shot the Magnemite with one of the double kicks. If I didn't use the X attack, I wouldn't have one shot, so here we can see our stats. Cool. And one thing you'll notice, if you take a quick look at those stat screens when they pop up, is... you'll always see a +1 in yellow, and that is what's called an AV, or an awakening value. And basically, every time we level up, we're going to gain one random AV in one stat, and that literally is, like, AV could stand for added value. Like, it literally adds 1 to the stat. So if you think of, like, with normal Pokemon, they're EVs, effort values, and it typically is, like, 4 effort values per stat at level 50 or whatever. It's basically replaces that, so we don't have to worry about having EVs or anything. We can just look at those AVs, and because of that, and because they're random, we're going to have different stats from run to run. Even though we have 31 IVs, we have perfect stats across the board, we're going to have different perfect stats from run to run. So trying to keep track of what my attack is and my special attack is going to be pretty important. My speed is also kind of important. However, I have been gaining speed AVs, it looks like. So I should be faster than the things I need to worry about. And the things that I'm not faster than, I'm obviously planning to not be faster than. Alright, so now we're out of Mount Moon. I'm going to go ahead and pick up another money item here. There's going to be a PP up here in the grass. Then I'm going to swoop back down to look at the grass. There's really only like 2 things that I really want here. Nothing I'm going to wait for. And only one thing is like exclusive to this grass. So I didn't see any of the things I wanted. I could have gotten a Psyduck there or an Ekans. Ekans only appears in that grass and on Route 3. Right before Mount Moon. Psyduck is available in a few places in the run, though, so not getting it there isn't a big deal. But now that we're here in Cerulean, I'm going to teach my Eevee those broken move tutor moves. So here's Bouncy Bubble. They have great names, by the way. Bouncy Bubble is a 90 power water move that will heal Eevee half of the HP that it dealt in damage. There's Buzzy Buzz, 90 base power electric move that will always paralyze the opponent. And the last one is Sizzly Slide, which is a 90 base power fire type move that always burns the opponent. And these moves are absolutely insane. And they're one of the reasons why Eevee sort of like takes off in comparison to Pikachu. Pikachu, on the other hand, gains one move there called Zippy Zap, which is a 50 base power electric move that always critical hits and has priority. So it's like quick attack, but way stronger and always crits. So you can see sort of why Eevee, or like Pikachu gets the raw end of the deal. On the flip side, though, Pikachu only learns one move there, and it takes like 15 seconds to learn one of those moves, so Pikachu's able to get out of that Pokemon Center like 30 seconds ahead of Eevee. But we're going to start putting those moves to use right now. We actually use... Normally, we're just using it for the power. But we actually use all of the moves for their secondary effect at one point in the run or another. The paralysis that Buzzy Buzz gives is actually very nice on this fight here. So this is Eevee. This is probably the first scary fight of the run. This is Eevee. This is Misty. First scary fight of the run. She has a Psyduck and a Starmie. Starmie is faster than us and doesn't die to a +2 Buzzy Buzz. However, because Buzzy Buzz will always paralyze, the Starmie will always be slower than us on turn 1 or on turn 2. So all we have to do is survive turn 1 in order to deal the damage, paralyze it, and then KO it the next turn. There goes Psyduck. And then Starmie here, like I said, he gets to use the move against us. He uses Scald, did not burn us, which is very nice. And then we're able to get rid of it. Very cool. Getting a lot of speed AVs. I don't know if anyone has asked yet, but one of the things that usually gets asked whenever I do runs of this is like, what does an ideal Eevee look like? What's the ideal nature for Eevee and stats and all that? I think ideally your Eevee would have plus attack, and then probably like either minus defense or special defense. The defenses don't matter nearly as much as the offensive stats. And then you would actually want to have... Well, okay, so your attack is by far the most important stat, so you'd want plus attack. However, if you were plus special attack and gained a ton of special attack AVs to the point where your special attack was like insanely high, that would actually be best. And that's sort of what happened on my world record. I'll point out the fights when we get there, but I had 2 fights that were 2 turn fights that are normally 3 or more, so it was pretty broken. Yeah, we're moving on to Nugget Bridge. And other than this very first fight here, it is a very straightforward fight, or a straightforward set of fights. If we didn't have level 15 coming out of Mount Moon, we would have had to do Nugget Bridge first, and then go back to Misty. Misty's gym requirement is to have level 15 Pokemon, so you might have to do these fights at a lower level, which these fights up here don't matter, but the rival fight specifically can be kind of dangerous. Pikachu can outspeed you, Pikachu can do damage to you, you don't always one-shot it, you don't always one-shot the Oddish, so it's kind of a brutal fight if you're going in at low experience, but top runners would probably reset if they don't have level 15 coming out of Moon.
Can I? Oops, sorry.
Oh, no, you go for it.
All right, we have a $50 donation from my Aunt Jane. Thank you, Aunt Jane, for your very gracious donation. I hope you're enjoying the stream. And that just took a whopping bite out of the Fable Glitch Incentive Glitch Showcase. So that incentive just is reduced by $50. Crazy. So get your donations in. We have a lot of Pokemon ahead of us.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Nugget Bridge here really showcases Eevee's moves really well. The first 3 fights on the bridge are a Venonat that dies to Sizzly Slide, Psyduck that dies to Buzzy Buzz, and then the Sandshrew that dies to Bouncy Bubble. And as you can see, we gain a ton of HP back, so it sort of makes the Eevee section, like, you don't have to heal all that often because Eevee ends up healing itself. Which is another big benefit. Like, Pikachu takes damage and then just has to deal with that damage. Eevee has the opportunity to heal itself. However, the Pikachu route has sort of been modified lately to the point where Pikachu's health, like, doesn't matter for pretty much the entire mid-game. So it's there's a ton of optimizations, and the games are still very active. Not a lot of people are doing Eevee runs particularly. The current Eevee record is kind of ridiculously good. The Pikachu record though, and the Pikachu run in general, just has more potential at the moment, so that's what people are mainly focused on. Alright, coming up here on the end of Nugget Bridge, here's this guy. Looks like an ordinary guy. We get ourselves a nugget. Nuggets are very good money items. Oh no, he's a member of Team Rocket. Never would have guessed. Alright. Haven't really been paying attention to my special attack. You kind of want to pay attention to all your stats as you're going, and it's a lot of numbers to look at and to remember, so. I feel like I've been gaining a lot of speed AVs, so my special attack's probably not very good. This is probably a pretty bad damage roll. Oh wow, we got it anyways. Very cool. This is a cozy game. I like this game as a speedrun because it's like, it doesn't have the same hardships that other Pokemon runs have. Like, other Pokemon runs, there are like 3 or 4 fights that are very bad, sometimes more, and it's like runs get decided by fight RNG. runs aren't really decided by fight RNG in this game. They're really decided by catch RNG instead. I could have caught that Venonat that spawned up there. However, Venonat's kind of like a tough Pokemon to actually catch. Like, it moves around in weird ways. And it's just not worth grabbing, in my opinion, on its own. If there was a Meowth up there, I would have gone for that, and then the Venonat would have been a lot closer, so it would have been a lot more worth it. But yeah. Final 2 fights here. We're at full health. And then we get to go talk to Bill. So now that we're talking to Bill here, the game kind of makes an interesting turn. So up until this point, there have been sort of like these invisible walls, if you will, where you need to meet certain requirements in order to progress through. So for example, there's a guy who's waiting that prevents you from leaving Pewter City early. If you haven't beaten Brock yet, you can't leave Pewter City to go to Mount Moon. If you haven't fought Misty and helped Bill out, you can't get through the house that's been burglarized in Cerulean City to make it down to Vermilion City. The next wall in terms of gym progress is actually you can't go to Victory Road without all the badges. There's nowhere else in the entire game we cannot get to without having badges. So we're actually going to just completely ignore gyms for the next hour and a half, almost. About hour and a half, we're going to be ignoring gyms and then just catching Pokemon and advancing plot. And it allows us to do some really cool stuff. Mainly, we can leave those gym battles until we're much higher level and have a different Pokemon and can just breeze through them. Because, this Eevee trying to take on Lieutenant Surge in a little bit in Vermilion City would be kind of brutal. The game sort of jumps up in level as well. The next couple Pokemon we're going to be facing are level 20 or so. And we're level 17 right now. We were just fighting Pokemon that were level 11. And the next Pokemon we're going to face are level 19, 20. So we need to have a good strategy for this whole midsection. This midsection is where Eevee's special moves really shine and where Pikachu really struggles. Pikachu actually starts to rely on friends like Growlithe and Nidoking and Pokemon like that in order to make it through this section where Eevee can do it on its own. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and grab, there's money items here in the underground. There are 3 actually. 2 of them are RNG, what they are, and they can be kind of bad. They range anywhere from Pretty Wings that are $500 to Nuggets that are $5,000. So we're actually going to avoid the 2 RNG ones and grab the one in the middle here that is always a Nugget. And then grab ourselves a Lure as well at the end of the tunnel. Right here. And then go into our next little section of catching. I'm going to grab a rare candy out here as well. Normally I would skip the rare candy. However, for this marathon route. It's worth grabbing. And then, what are we looking for here? We're looking for Pidgey, Vulpix, and Jigglypuff. Psyduck can also appear, though it's not required. Nothing here is required, I should say. Just what we sort of expect to see. And Abra is also very nice here, though it is usually pretty rare. It's like a 5% encounter. I only have one Pokemon party, so I can't do 2 controller catches yet. But now I can. Vulpix is nice. I have now the ability to evolve it if I want, because there are free Firestones I can pick up on the ground. So I'll typically use this as like a flex Pokemon to be like, if I have an odd number of Pokemon, then I know I need it. If I have an even number, then I don't need it, kind of thing. Wow, that was a... Normally my throws are a lot more line drive. That one kind of had an arc to it. But it still got in, which is nice. We don't know exactly what it does, but getting an excellent throw, as well as doing a 2-controller catch, both increase the odds of the Pokemon being caught, like the catch rate. So, when you don't get an excellent for some reason, it can be a little bit spooky, because you're like, oh no, I'm about to get a breakout. But we got lucky. Catch this Pidgey here. Could get a Pidgey later and actually evolve it twice up into Pidgeot. However, it's kind of rare on that route, so I'd rather just get the free 2 Pokemon than potentially lose 3 later on. I hope there will be a Let's Go Johto. I thoroughly enjoyed these games. Oh, I actually got seen. Alright, so you can skip these 2 trainers by just walking between their vision. But I was a little bit off. I was coming at it from the other side. I'm gonna blame that. It's not a big deal. Both of them, like, whichever side I hit goes down to one of my broken moves, so. Alright, so I typically have a rule of thumb that says if I have 2 Pokemon to deposit, that's when I like make a special trip into the menu to do so. And I actually have both Jigglypuff and Vulpix to deposit, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it. I'm gonna evolve Wigglytuff as well. Wigglytuff is a nice Pokemon to evolve. Out of the 4 Moonstone Pokemon, Wigglytuff is the best one, just because it doesn't learn a move when it evolves, so you save a little bit of time there. All right. And this fight here against our rival is going to be the first instance of a 2-controller fight, so that is pretty exciting. So like I mentioned, in addition to 2-controller catches, you can also do 2-controller fights, and that will literally turn the fight into a double battle for your side, but leave a single opponent. So you can actually attack with 2 different Pokemon at the same time. The downside is it is a little bit slower, so it's like it's not worth it to do on every fight. Only for select fights is it actually worth it. But the fights that it is worth it on are typically going to save a lot of time by doing so. going to go here into our rival fight. So one of the main reasons why 2-controller fights are broken isn't because we can attack twice. It's because we can attack once and boost our other Pokemon with X items at the same time. So, for example, here, Jeff, our Eevee, is going to use Buzzy Buzz. And from Pidgey's side, we're actually going to use an X special on Eevee. So we just boosted our special attack by 2 stages and attacked in the same turn. That's why it's completely busted. Now we're going to go ahead and use Headbutt and boost our attack at the same time. That's actually not what I want to do. I want a Sizzly Slide here. Cool. So yeah, there's only about, I want to say there's like less than 10 total double fights that we actually do. But you can see how powerful they are right there. But yeah, I see some people in chat talking about it. If we didn't have to catch 50 Pokemon, this run would actually be awful. Because it's the main way we gain experience. So, just to put into perspective, if you don't catch anything, alright, so catching stuff, and catching as much stuff as we are, by the time that we're done with Eevee, we are about level 30 or so, and we're facing Pokemon that are level 35, okay? By the time, if we caught nothing, with just the experience you gain from trainers, you would actually be about level 22 when you get rid of Eevee, facing Pokemon that are level 35. So it would be kind of, you would have to main switch a lot more. You would honestly be like switching up what Pokemon you're using the entire run. It would actually be kind of, it would probably be cool to route, but it would be awful to run. Oh no, I didn't grab, I'll be fine. I'll figure it out. I was supposed to grab a nugget on the boat, and I honestly forgot. Not something I normally grab. So escape ropes are going to be necessary. We're going to buy some lures. More X attacks. This is like our big X item buy. We are going to be buying X items later as well. However, I'm going to buy basically as much as I can now. Alright. That was good. So yeah, now we have to run back. The trainer skip is easier in reverse. However, because I hit the trainer already, I don't have to worry about trying to line myself up. I can just move right through. All right. Now, if I had to pick one section of this run that I would say runs die at, it's this section coming up here. So I like how Abra spawn. This grass right here isn't worth it ever to go down, and I had Abra spawn twice there today, so that's awesome. But yeah, this section here is where we're going to be catching a lot of Pokemon. I'm going in right now, I have 18 Pokemon. Typically, leaving Rock Tunnel, which is like the next area, I have 33 or more. Okay, so swap some X items around, use a lure. But this was also the whole 2-controller part of the run wasn't actually allowed originally when we first started doing speedruns of the game. Originally, you were forced, or we made everyone play in 1 controller because we thought 2-controller was going to be too broken. It is broken, but it's not nearly as broken as we thought it was going to be, so it made the run, like, the run isn't fun with 1 controller, I will just say. We used to always track, like, breakouts. Like, I don't have any breakouts so far, and I will probably finish the run with around 5 total. I totally just jinxed myself, but whatever. But a typical 1-controller run would probably get to this point with about 2 breakouts. And then would enter Rock Tunnel. Not even, like, exit Rock Tunnel. Enter Rock Tunnel with 30 breakouts. Like, that's how absolutely awful catching Pokemon was with 1 controller. In addition to, there are some fights that are, like, almost unwinnable with 1 controller using speedrun strats. So, we decided to merge the 2 categories, basically. Okay. I'm level 20. What is my attack stat? 45. Not worth it. Okay. These Rattatas here, or Eradicates, can be kind of tricky to deal with. And I just did the strat I said I wasn't going to go for. So, cool. Go me. They're like borderline 2-shots a lot of the time. So I am faster than them though, which is interesting. Alright, so there is my Pidgeotto. I'm gonna keep it in my party even though I don't need it anymore to like level up and evolve because I want 2 controller catches. This is like a really big area. This is like one of the first areas we're actually going to sit and just wait for Pokemon to show up. We want to get Rattata, Spearow, Nidoran female, Nidoran male, and Krabby. We don't technically need all 5 of those. However, getting at least 3 of those would be nice. If not 4. 4 would be like ideal. So, Nidoran female. Does the Pokeball controller affect the speedrun at all? That is a good question. So, the Pokeball Plus, which they're over there. I could grab one in a second. Can absolutely be used, and it's, effectively just a controller. The main reason I don't use one is there's 1 button on that entire thing. And there is... Alright, so your typical Joy-Con has X, Y, A, and B, right? And a joystick. And then trigger buttons. The shoulder buttons all act like A buttons on the Joy-Con. So they can be ignored. So you have A, B, X, Y, and the joystick, okay? A Pokeball Plus has a button on top, a joystick that clicks, and that's it. So the way that it works is A is clicking the stick, B is the button on top, and then X and Y are both the shake. And like you have to shake to do X and Y. It's like the weirdest thing. But needless to say, trying to like mash through text is impossible on that thing. So here's Krabby. Krabby is the hardest of the bunch to catch because, as you can see, he jumps to the sides. With the first instance of his sideways throw. To do sideways throws, I just basically take the controller and just pull it like, picture like I have a curtain that I'm pulling in front of me. It's like the exact same motion. But because of that, I have to make sure like my mic is not gonna get hit. I don't have my drink on the side of me or anything. Gotta be careful. Don't want Fearow. I do want this Nidoran male, though. Unfortunate. Alright, so like I mentioned, I don't need to get a Spearow. I have 2 things already. I have 4 things from this route already, so I could just leave. However, I'm gonna let one more thing spawn. The every area in the game has a set number of Pokemon that can spawn at a time. This route has 4 things that are available to spawn. Like, it has room for 4 things. So it'd be silly of me to leave without having a 4th thing spawned. Currently, there's only 3. Because I just caught one of them. Alright, it's another Nidoran female, so we can get rid of that. And move on. If I was really strapped for catches and, like, only caught 1 thing there or 2 things, I could do this fight and then go back, but I should be fine. What do you need 50 Pokemon for? So in order to enter Koga's gym, you have to have 50 Pokemon registered in the Pokedex. I am currently at 24 catches. So we're almost halfway there on catches. Alright, I'm gonna go for that 2-shot again. Oh, that was a crit. Okay. I was like, wow, I did way more than I thought I was going to. I also didn't realize I would hit level 22. I thought I was still level 20. Otherwise, I would have gone for double headbutt there. All right. Yeah, the game randomly puts Lorelei here. I forgot about that. I forgot that that's not, like, standard. Because I've been playing this game so much. Yeah, like, they added a little bit of storyline here. They had Lorelei come in, help save the day. Not singing the song. I prematurely brought out the second controller. We have to do a lot of catches in Rock Tunnel as well, so just getting ready. Okay, that is one of the 2, but it was the wrong one. I wanted to grab the other one. Actually, I'm going to grab this first. So we skipped Zubat in Mount Moon. We're going to grab Zubat now. Zubat is not useful at all for experience because it is really hard to hit the circle for. However, if I catch it here, it evolves in 1 level. So it counts as 2 Pokemon. And then I'm going to go ahead and I think I should deposit Nidoran female, or Nidorina and Pidgeotto before catching this Graveler. Also should heal at some point. I haven't talked about it at all, but I'm using berries sometimes. Raspberries are berries that are going to give the Pokemon a higher catch rate. So this Graveler is now more likely to be caught than if I didn't use one. It's a one-time use item, which means if this Graveler broke out, it would no longer have that raspberry effect. The other item that you'll see me using is the Nanab Berry. I use that against Zubat. The Nanab Berry basically prevents the Pokemon from moving or attacking at all. So it basically forced that Zubat, instead of going like around the screen, it like stayed in one spot. It still moves around sort of, but not nearly as much as it would have otherwise. Right, so in Rock Tunnel, other things we're trying to catch are, so Zubat, Graveler, we want Machop, we want Cubone, and then probably the most important thing in Rock Tunnel for us to catch is a Rhyhorn. You'll notice that I didn't get a bike or anything, right? There is no bike in this game. Instead, you have the ability to ride certain Pokemon. And Rhyhorn just so happens to be the first Pokemon that is, like, actually worth riding. So, a Pokemon like Onix can be ridden, but it doesn't move any faster than walking, so it's not really worth it. But a Pokemon like Rhyhorn actually moves at a considerable speed. So, we really want to make sure we get one. If we don't get one, it's not the end of the world. It wastes about like 45 to 50 seconds. But getting one is just super nice. So ideally we get it earlier, just because that way we can use the Rhyhorn for longer. But if we end up getting it later, it's not the end of the world. So this is the big area where we typically get a lot of things to spawn. Of course, I got, like, nothing to spawn. There's a Cubone. I'll grab the Cubone. I think I'll just keep going through Rock Tunnel. Gonna use a Raspberry here. Because I didn't sell the fossil, I always have those two Pokemon, the Omanite plus Omastar evolved, in my back pocket. If I do have to, like, I might be down a Pokemon or two, but if I have them, I should be fine. Zubat is a Pokemon I just want to get, like, removed from the route altogether, because it learns a move on level up, it learns a move evolving, and it's a pain to actually catch. It'd be so nice if we could just get rid of it.
You mind if I cut in?
Go for it.
Alrighty, so I just want to remind everybody that we're here raising money for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Doing really well. We're at $1,750 on just the second day of 4 of SpeedDocsAThon. I want to let you all know that we have the next incentive coming up is the Ape Escape 2 Play the Dancing minigame. Reichhelt's going to deliver us some Ape Escape 2 action, and you can actually make the monkey dance. Dance, monkey, dance. So get your donations into that. We are $40 away from hitting that incentive.
Yeah, I'm getting a ton of Gravelers to spawn, but nothing else. So I still need Machop and Rhyhorn. What was this up here? Oh, there's a Rhyhorn. Cool. Whoops. Okay. Oh, broke out. I think that was our first, like, true breakout of the run. We had a couple, like, not missed throws, but throws where the Pokemon attacked when the ball hit them, but we haven't had a true breakout yet. So. Exciting. Oh, that still gave us a lot of experience. Alright, so I am going to go ahead and deposit the Golbat, get that out of here, and then start riding the Rhyhorn, and you can see just how much faster I am now that I have the Rhyhorn. Get rid of that second trainer. So we've already seen me use the Buzzy Buzz move to paralyze something so that way I was faster the next turn. I've already used Bouncy Bubble to heal myself, which is obviously going to be useful. This is the fight where burning the Pokemon is really useful, so if you're burned, your physical attack is halved. So this Machop hits us really hard, but once we burn it, it doesn't hit us nearly as hard, so sort of just showing off like each of the individual things. We're going to get the fourth move once we get out of Rock Tunnel. And we're going to use that secondary effect almost immediately as well. And then this Rhyhorn here is perfect for us to heal right back up on. Alright, still looking for a Machop. I will leave Rock Tunnel if I don't have one. Like, it's not worth me grinding for encounters or anything. But if I do see one, I would really like it. Alright, cool. This is the first, like, really scary fight. Like, Misty is kind of scary, but it usually can go fine if you're just at a high health. This fight can be really scary for a couple of different reasons. The Vulpix is using Flamethrower against us, which is going to potentially burn me. And then Kadabra, and obviously burning me will reduce my attack. And then Kadabra comes out, is faster than us, and hits us with Psybeam, which has a chance to confuse us. So a lot of things can go wrong on this one single fight, and it's like the only fight in the first 2 hours that something bad can happen like that. There's a Machop. Cool. I used that lure when I didn't need to, but I wasn't sure if it was a Machop spawning or something else. Oh, that was unfortunate. Please just stop jumping. Oh my god, sir. Please, stop. There we go. Alright. I was just looking at my Pokemon. So as I do runs, I have a Pokemon tracker where I'm able to see the Pokemon that I'm planning on catching, the Pokemon that I've already caught, see how many there are, how many I'm coming up on. I was just making sure I'm still on track, because one of the things that the tracker doesn't do is it doesn't tell me when a Pokemon I was planning on catching has already passed. So I have to remember to actually like uncheck things. If I didn't catch a Machop, I'd have to uncheck it and Machoke. But everything remaining is still, and I still have a buffer, so I could like not get something like Ghastly, for example. Yeah, we're not catching those things. Right, so now we're out of Rock Tunnel. That is like the big catching section of the run. So the fact that we're out of there and we got almost everything we needed. The only thing that we want to catch that we didn't is Spearow. So, but we got Krabby, and Krabby was sort of like a bonus catch anyways. So we are in good shape. We are just doing Eevee right now. You can do Pika. Pikachu does have its own category, but that's a bad lure for me to have used. There's only like a finite number of lures that we have, and I hit A instead of B there. So that's bad. Whatever. I'll make it work. Because I have the extra like leeway with the fossil, I could just not lure in Pokemon Tower, and if I don't get Ghastly, oh well. So here we're going to use a Guard Spec. Guard Spec basically is going to prevent us from getting Sand attacked, like that. We're going to boost our attack twice, so now we're going to be at 3 times attack. Boost our speed as well. And now we sweep. Alright, hitting level 28 here is nice. I'm not going to teach Double Edge here. Double Edge is actually a very powerful move. It's like 120 power, which turns into 180 when you factor in same type attack bonus. The downside is it is a recoil move, so it's going to deal recoil back to me whenever I damage somebody, and that recoil is just... For Eevee's purposes, that recoil is just not very worth it. It saves a couple of turns, but you end up having to heal a lot more, so I'm not going to learn it. There was one fight in the route that like requires Double Edge, but I actually have a cooler strat that I like showing off in marathons, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and heal. And get out. I have 5 lures left, I think I saw. So 5's actually good. Means I have to pick up a super lure later on, but it's not a big deal. Eevee's nature is quirky, so it is a neutral nature. So it's not ideal, but it's not something you would reset ever. Like, plus attack is obviously better, but not worth resetting for. Alright. Every good Pokemon speedrun has a Clefairy that can use Metronome, so this is ours. This Clefairy will have a chance to flinch because we're going to be using Headbutt against it, but otherwise it's going to be able to roll any move in the game. So let's see what it gets. Poison Sting. Don't poison. Hey, look at that. It poisoned me. Cool. Not a big deal. Just an extra menu you gotta deal with. Runs like this are kind of unfortunate. Well, I guess I haven't gotten to a point. I haven't gotten to the point where I get a lot of the poison statuses, but like, I'm typically, if I'm gonna get paralyzed or put to sleep or whatever, it would have already happened. So it looks like I bought all those healing items for no reason. Only thing I would have wanted to get in that grass if I saw it was Abra, which I did not. For a time, there was a route that would catch an Abra there, evolve it to Kadabra, and then use Kadabra for Hideout. That's coming up here. However, that is a very risky route, so it's definitely not something I would want to do in a marathon, but even in like PB world record attempts, you pretty much don't do that. The amount of time it saves versus the amount of risk it adds just isn't worth it. Alright, so I did two things there in the Pokemon Center. The first thing I did was I taught Eevee the move Glitzy Glow. Glitzy Glow is a normal, or not normal, it is a psychic type move. 90 base power, and it sets up a light screen. And a light screen is something that gets sets up on your side of the field that will reduce the damage that special attacks do against you. So that's going to be useful on a couple of fights. The other thing I did there was I talked to Madame Celadon, I think is her name. But basically, there are no abilities in this game, which is actually relevant coming up soon. But there are no abilities in this game, and so there is no synchronize. So in order to compensate with that, I guess, what they did was they added Madame Celadon, who you could pay 10,000 Pokédollars to set the nature of every Pokemon that you see in the wild for the next day. So for the rest of the day, I'm going to have Pokemon that are a modest nature appear in the wild. And that is going to be for the Starmie that I'm going to be catching in about a half hour. So when I say rest of the day, I mean until midnight, quite literally. So it's very important if you're doing runs of this game to make sure that you are playing at a time that isn't going to roll past midnight, or if it is going to be midnight where you live, that you like change the clock on your Switch. Otherwise, there's a chance that you pay $10,000 for your modest nature, and then the Starmie you catch is not modest because it is past midnight. Currently it is 8:30 where I live, so I am good, but you do have to be careful. That's unfortunate. I can heal, but I'm actually probably faster than this Voltorb. I don't want to risk it, but I am probably faster than it. The Voltorb has the move Sonic Boom, which deals 20 damage, like a fixed 20 damage. So yeah. So if it's faster than I am, which it was, then I would have been dead there. But every Pokemon, for the most part, Pokemon that are trainers that are not like important battles, so gym leaders or boss battles or your rival, they're just gonna have random AI. They're gonna do whatever moves. So like he could have killed me with Sonic Boom there, and he decided to Screech instead. But I can't rely on him not using Sonic Boom like that. Yeah, this is... I don't think I actually mentioned that at the beginning of the run. This is, yeah, a remake of Pokemon Yellow. So we are playing through Pokemon Yellow. It is only Generation 1 Pokemon. It is effectively the same maps, the same game, same fights. There are some changes. Most of the moves are Generation 1 specific. However, they have added some moves. Like, for example, in Generation 1, there were 2 Ghost-type moves. There was Lick, and there was Nightshade. They've added, like, Shadow Ball. So they've expanded the move pool slightly, but for the most part, like, you're not going to see things like Water Spout. Surf or Hydro Pump are going to be your best water moves. They removed abilities, so there are no abilities, there are no held items in this game. They kept things like Nature's, obviously, we've been talking about that. They made a game for boomers like me, exactly. But unlike Generation 1, we can't use the Pokédoll to skip past the ghost in Lavender Tower, so we do have to make our way through Hideout here. And then one of the other things that they kept from post-Gen 1 games, is they kept the addition of the Dark, Steel, and Fairy typing. There are no Dark Pokemon that are Kanto. Like, there are no Dark Kanto Pokemon. The only Pokemon that can be Dark types are Alolan... So, in this game, specifically, are Alolan Raticate, and Alolan Muck, and Alolan Persian. So, it's like the Alola forms, not the Kanto versions that we would catch normally. Steel, there's like Magnemite, Magneton, and then Fairy are like Clefairy, Wigglytuff, those kind of things. And super relevant, we're actually going to abuse a mechanic using the Fairy type in a second, but I need to add a couple Pokemon to my party real quick. So this fight coming up here is kind of scary. So back in Mount Moon, we fought Jesse and James in a double battle, and it was like a real double battle. It wasn't one of those 2-controller, we're busted kind of fights. So we're going to fight them again. It's going to be another double battle. However, this time we don't have a Pokemon that's at least comparable in strength to our Eevee. And they are very high level. They're like level 32 or 33 right now, and we're only level 28. So what we do, because Eevee would get absolutely blasted by these two if they decided to double attack us, is we're going to send out Wigglytuff. Wigglytuff is a part Fairy Pokemon, and Fairy is weak to poison, so we basically bait Jesse and James into attacking Wigglytuff once. Then we're going to go ahead and switch in Rhyhorn. Rhyhorn is going to resist any poison moves, so it's not going to deal that much damage. And now that we've paralyzed the Arbok's going to be slower than us. So it's going to go down to this Glitzy Glow. We're going to set up the light screen, so now Weezing's going to do even less damage to us with Sludge. And then we should be able to heal next turn, because next turn we will one-shot the Weezing. So whatever gets damaged here, we can go ahead and heal. and we can call it a day. Oh wait, no, I don't want to heal with the Eevee slot. Eevee gets to Glitzy Glow again. All right. So there's Jesse and James down, and this is probably the second hardest fight before we allowed two controller. Two controllers, this fight still can be kind of dangerous, but this fight was almost impossible with only one controller. It was a very dangerous fight. A lot of runs would die here or lose a ton of time. This is Archer. Archer was a trainer that was actually added in the Generation 4, well, the Gen 2 remakes in Generation 4, and they sort of brought him back as more of a canon character. So here we're going to face his Weezing. We are going to two-shot the Weezing. Cubone's not supposed to be in slot 2. Cubone is about to get blasted, I'm pretty sure. But we'll see. That almost one-shot, wow. Alright, it did not get blasted. Very cool, very cool. Normally you're supposed to have like Rhyhorn in slot 2, that way it doesn't take a lot of damage, but I, for some reason, have Cubone there, so whoops. So we X special attack, we X speed, that way we're faster than this Golbat, and then we X special attack again to take out the Golbat in one hit. Speed mechanics in this game are like every game before it, but not like Generation 8. Generation 8 actually changed it. Speed updates at the beginning of the turn, not dynamically. So, if we want to outspeed the Golbat, we need to be faster than it at the beginning of the turn. And we weren't. So we had to make sure that, you know, we X-speeded the turn before the Golbat came out. Otherwise, we wouldn't outspeed it. Now we're going into Giovanni. Giovanni is the fight I mentioned that Double Edge really helps with. However, we're going to do a cooler strat. But it does involve me not using two controller. Because using two controller, this fight is actually harder using this strategy. So this Persian's actually very bulky, very high level, and very fast. But it only has normal type moves. So we're going to lead our Graveler here, which isn't going to take a lot of damage from Slash at all, as you can see. We're going to boost its X attack twice. And then we're going to go ahead and go boom. Bye-bye, Persian. No, it's where Eevee is, but the menu decides to move stuff around. Then we're going to send in the Eevee again, and Rhyhorn, as we have learned, is very weak on the special side, and it's 4 times weak to water, so Bouncy Bubble can just demolish it. So yeah, it's a really cool fight. That's actually almost the same, time-wise, as doing a 2-controller fight with Double Edge. Like, it's a couple of seconds of difference, so I just like showing that off. It's such a cool fight. I forget who came up with it originally. Oops. So now that we have the Sylph Scope, we can make our way into Lavender Tower and actually see the ghosts that are there. Turns out those ghosts are Pokemon. But also, because we've beaten the hideout, we gain access to the secret technique for Skydash. So I didn't mention it earlier, but there are no HMs. There are secret techniques. So one of the really nice things, there's 2 really nice things about having secret techniques versus HMs. The first is we don't have to worry about having a Pokemon that can actually use the move. But the second thing is that the Pokemon, or there are no gym requirements either. So it's not like we have to beat Misty to use the cut TM or HM. We don't have to beat Brock, or not Brock. We don't have to beat Surge in order to use Fly. So we actually have access to use Skydash, even though we haven't beaten Surge. And that's why the game really opens up and allows us to get anywhere without beating any more gyms. Normally you'd have to beat Koga in order to have Surf, but we're able to go surfing once we gain access to that secret technique, which is very close to now, but not quite there yet. While I'm here in Lavender Tower, we would like to get a Ghastly if we see one. If we don't get one, it's not the end of the world. We can just do the fossil. Trainer vision in this game is laughable. Actually, I'm about to level up. To 30. These spinners are super slow. All right, there we go. Only 2 mandatory fights here. Then we have basically an identical Jesse and James fight to what we had in Tower. And we took the heal pad in the couple floors down, and that revived our Wigglytuff, so we don't have to worry about manually reviving it or anything like that. Go ahead and grab these Ultra Balls here. We're pretty much going to switch to Ultra Balls now. Like, we switched to Great Balls almost immediately, now that we have access to... We have 8 Ultra Balls, and only... Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things left to catch, so... We're good. Alright, so last chance for me to get a Ghastly. If I don't get one, I have the Fossil as the backup. I also can get a Psyduck on Route 17 when I'm heading down toward Fuchsia, so that's an option as well. Oh, there we are. That was like the last second. I almost went into the loading zone. Alright, so we're going to Nanab this first, because it's going to start moving. Then grab an Ultra Ball. That's not where I threw it all. Cool. I still got in. Even though I missed the circle altogether. Yeah, I haven't seen anyone ask it, but it's worth mentioning. The Pokeball that's being used by the second controller doesn't matter. The game basically takes what is the best ball of the 2 that you are using and uses that when it determines, like, if the ball is going to be... Or uses that to determine, like, the catch rate. So by throwing 2 Great Balls or a Great Ball and an Ultra Ball doesn't help me at all over just throwing a Pokeball with an Ultra Ball or a Great Ball. Alright. Alright, so we're gonna paralyze the Arbok again. Use an X special. Wigglytuff should get demolished. Sorry. Eevee gets hurt by a lot. So that light screen should make me survive a hit from this wheezing. I forget the exact numbers. I want to say it's like a 75%. Like it makes them 75. Makes special moves against me 75% as powerful, but he didn't even attack me, so that's good. And then it doesn't matter what I do here. This is officially the end for Jeff. We are no longer going to be using Jeff in battle. Because we're level 30. We just faced a Pokemon that was level 33, 34, maybe. The next Pokemon we're going to face is level 43. So we need to have, like, or level 45, I want to say, actually. So we're going to need a significant boost in our level. And it just so happens that we can do that on these next couple routes. Everyone say goodbye to Jeff. Served us well. Definitely served us well. I'm going to go ahead and put Ghastly into the party, as well as put Krabby back in. Get rid of this. I miss Jeff too. It also didn't have a name, but this will likely be the last we see of Rhyhorn as well. Rhyhorn is going to be replaced by a faster Pokemon. There are a couple of different tiers. Like, I don't know how many tiers there are exactly, but there are a couple of different tiers for ride Pokemon for speed. Rhyhorn's probably in the second fastest tier. However, there are a few Pokemon in the fastest tier, and one of them is very easy to get on this next route, so we'll be switching. This is not it. Snorlax. We don't catch Snorlax. Snorlax is a stationary Pokemon. And the stationary Pokemon, like the legendaries, the two Snorlaxes, I want to say the Electrodes in Power Plant are the same way. You actually have to battle them before you can catch them. So it's kind of slow to actually defeat the Snorlax here, so we just run away. If it would evolve into something, there might be a case for like trying to catch it and evolve it, but as it stands, you'd be wasting like 3 minutes for one Pokemon. It's just not worth it. Riding Snorlax is amazing. You're not wrong. Alright, nothing spawned up there. You typically don't want to go up there, but you can if you have to. I probably would have if I saw one specific Pokemon. But now we're on to this route. So another trainer we can skip. Just hug the bottom wall here. You can get right past them. And then in the grass on this route, we're going to be looking for 2 Pokemon. 3. There's Psyduck, so we're going to grab Psyduck. Psyduck is not required. Psyduck's like a 10% encounter, so it's kind of rare. But yeah, other than Psyduck, the 2 Pokemon that we're looking for are going to be Doduo and Ponyta. Both of them are going to evolve in one level. along with the Psyduck. Ponyta evolves into Rapidash, which is that very fast ride Pokemon I was talking about. Doduo is necessary for a fight later on, actually. It's not going to be the Pokemon we're switching to, but it is definitely used for a fight, so we absolutely need to get one. It is the only fight that our new main Pokemon is going to struggle with. To the point where, like, it literally can't do it, not just it's hard. Alright, I want to grab this, for sure. Alright, cool. I disagree, game. I think that should have been an excellent. Was a little early, I guess. Cool. Yeah, so this was glowing, which means it was either tiny or large. And that made something else evolve. So we're gonna go ahead and do some menuing. We actually want to switch to riding Ponyta as fast as we can. So Ponyta to the party, get rid of Rhyhorn, get rid of Marowak. Use one of our rare candies on that. And it's totally worth evolving Ponyta with a rare candy. Like, you might think it's like, oh, why would you waste a rare candy on it? But, like, you're gonna see how much faster Rapidash is than Rhyhorn. You guys will understand. Zoom. Nice Chansey. Oh, very nice. And an Eevee spawned too. Catch 'em all runners are mad. There are other categories of this game. One of the most popular ones actually isn't any percent. It's category called Diploma. Basically, when you complete your Pokedex, you can talk to the game director in Celadon and get given a diploma that signifies that you've completed your Pokedex. And normally that isn't really like something you can speedrun very well, just because you can only catch... There are version exclusives. The games always come in pairs. There are version exclusives, so you can't catch everything in a single game. However, because this game only has 150 Pokemon in it, and is available with, like, you can play with Nintendo Switch Online to trade, we actually have runs where there's 2 people playing and trading over the internet with each other to complete the Pokedex together. And, so whenever you see a rare Pokemon, like Eevee's a 5%, and you have to catch 3 of them in a diploma run. So whenever you see a rare Pokemon like an Eevee on an any percent run, it's like, oh, that's rough. But yeah, able to get right through there. What just evolved? It was the Haunter, okay. I grabbed the Super Lure, the Elixir, and the Rare Candy. Okay. If I miss the candy, it's fine. The Elixir is a bigger deal. But I can... When I see if I have the Elixir, I can fix not having it. Fine. Alright, so, there is no Safari Zone in this game, so in order to get Surf, we just have to talk to this guy over here with the surfboard. Once we have Surf, the very next thing we're going to do is catch ourselves a Staryu that we're going to evolve into a Starmie. So, we will need the Starmie name in maybe, like, 2 minutes or so. Just so you know. So we're gonna go ahead and use our Super Lure. No, not Escape Rope. Starmie's name is CJ. Okay, sounds good. So yeah, this water here, that grass there, you can catch a few things. Typically it's only reserved for like, I'm really low on catches and I need to get something. You typically only want to catch stuff here in the water. You can get Staryu in the water as well as Tentacool. Both of them evolve. Staryu is mandatory because Staryu is going to be our main Pokemon from now on. And this one broke out. Fantastic. It's my last Ultra Ball, and I have one more thing to catch after this, so... Unfortunate. Alright, so there's the Staryu. I will nickname it on my next menu. One of the nice things about this game is you can actually nickname Pokemon. So they actually did a lot of quality of life improvements. They gave you the ability to nickname Pokemon just from the menu. So you don't have to go to a name rater or anything like that. You can just change the name of the Pokemon right in your Pokemon menu. They also give us access to the PC in the overworld, which I've been using and abusing a lot of, but I haven't really touched on. Normally you have to go to a Pokemon Center and go to the box, like the PC, in order to actually deposit and withdraw Pokemon. But being able to do that just from the menu is like huge. I'm actually going to avoid Tentacool because in the water here you can only use one controller catches. You can't do two controllers, so I'd rather catch something else using two controllers than the Tentacool with one. And I only need 2 more Pokemon. Or, I need 1 more catch. 2 more meaning the evolution. And then once I get on land here, I'm going to go ahead and do some menuing. So I'm going to put this over there. Put Doduo in slot 2. We're going to use 3 rare candies on Staryu. We get a first look at our stats. Our speed is very good. Our special attack is okay. Not amazing, so I'm glad I have extra rare candies. I'm going to save 1 rare candy for later, actually. We're going to use our Water Stone. We use our rare candies before the Water Stone, and we have to catch specifically a Staryu. Starmie is a 1% encounter on that route, but you want a Staryu, not a Starmie, because Staryu has Psychic already, and learns Hydro Pump at level 45, so otherwise with Starmie you'd have to get a Psychic TM, you wouldn't have Hydro Pump, it would just be worse. So we do that, we evolve it using the Water Stone that we pick up on the same route as it. I'm also going to go ahead and teach Misty's TM, which was Scald. 111 special attack, that's okay, like I said. And then I'm going to go ahead and nickname it. So change name. CJ. So thank you guys very much for donating for the nicknames and all that stuff.
Can I hop in really quick?
Absolutely.
Alrighty, so we had another $10 donation, which went to Save the Animals. The animals want to be saved, so you can get your donations in for that. Also, it does inflate my ego that the world donated 120 some odd dollars to name Pokemon after me, so thank you very much for that. And yeah, that's all I got.
Alright. So this coughing is the last thing I have to catch, and of course it's going to troll me. I've had relatively good catch luck up until this point, so if anything is going to do it, it's going to be this thing. I'm going to go ahead and razz it while it's not moving. Because I ran out of the Ultra Balls, I have to rely on Great Balls here, and these Pokemon are just harder to catch than the ones earlier, so. It's worth mentioning that Pokemon do have a chance of running away. There's a way you can tell that a Pokemon's about to run away, and we haven't seen one of those yet. Basically, whenever the Pokemon does that little attack animation, you'll notice that the circle goes away, so you can't catch it. When it's going to run away from you, it's going to do that, and it's going to do an attack animation, but then the circle doesn't disappear. That means the Pokemon's about to run away from you in like 5 seconds. So, but we finally got that coughing. Finally. We can make our way through Mansion. We are officially done catching Pokemon, which is awesome. We're still going to be obtaining a few Pokemon. We still have a couple Pokemon we can get from gifts. And then a couple of Pokemon that are going to be evolving still. But in terms of actually catching stuff, we are done. And this right here is the one mandatory fight here in Pokemon Mansion. And this is hands down the worst fight before the allowance of 2 controllers. This Electrode here outspeeds our Starmie and does about 2/3 health to us with Thunderbolt. So with 2 controllers, we can easily just go like this, X Special, and we're good. We explicitly put Doduo in slot 2. That way, there's a decent chance that the Electrode decides to target it instead of us. And then we can just pop a different Pokemon in for the remainder of the fight. The way this fight would go before 2 controller is you'd have to set up an X Special defense. And basically hope you don't get paralyzed, hope you don't get crit. And that's about it. But yeah, that was... Scientist Ted was not a pretty fight before 2 controller. That is a fight that... It is technically faster to use 2 controllers than 1, but the primary reason we use 2 controllers is because it is safer. I'm going to pick up that Firestone. That gives me basically that last Pokemon slot. The Ninetales from Vulpix. You get to a certain point in the run where everything is sort of paired up. So, like, I'm not going to catch a Tentacool and not evolve it kind of thing. So, if I get Tentacool, I get Tentacruel as well. I'm never going to catch just a Tentacruel. And then similar things, you know, coughing, I'm going to get Wheezing as well. And like that. Having the Ninetales option allows you to get to this point with an even or odd number of Pokemon. It doesn't matter. And then there's a Firestone available right after you're done with all your catches, so it's really convenient timing. We grab a rare candy there, as well as this Max Elixir. And then the secret key, and then we're gonna get out of here. We're not catching Ditto. Ditto is very hard to catch. All right, so now we're going to take on our first gym in about an hour and a half. This is the 7th gym leader, Blaine. We fight Blaine now basically because we're on Cinnabar Island. There's no real reason we have to do it first. It's just we happen to be here, so... just like the originals, we have a quiz. It's done a little bit differently, but it's still the same idea. If you get the question wrong, you have to face a trainer, so we just get the questions all correct. And then the last question you actually can't get wrong because every single option works. So he used Confuse Ray there. There's a chance that he uses Flamethrower turn 1 instead of Confuse Ray. And if that happens, then you just save the turn having to heal the confusion off. But... there's Psyducks. That's good. So with the Psyduck evolving, we will be at 45 Pokemon. 5 left to get. We've got the Ninetales, Dodrio, Weezing, and then 2 gift Pokemon to get after that. All right. So did I explain? I didn't really explain. So the Starmie is a modest nature because we set the nature back in Celadon. And the only stats that like really make or break a Starmie are going to be the special attack and the speed. The speed doesn't matter nearly as much as you might think. Basically having average or above average speed is good enough. The special attack, on the other hand, is a very, very important stat. And there's going to be a lot of like ranges and things like that that we have to deal with. I am doing sort of like a marathon route of my, almost like a beginner route, if we had one, which we don't at the moment, but I plan on making, where I'm actually going to be using 2 extra rare candies than normal. So it's going to make a lot of my damage ranges a lot better. Damage ranges basically meaning every time you deal damage with a move, there's a range of values that you could actually deal in damage based on your stats, their stats, all that kind of stuff. So when I say something is a range, it means that some of those damage rolls are going to result in a KO and some aren't. So, using 6 rare candies instead of 4 on my Starmie are going to dramatically increase those range potentials for a few specific fights. However, the downside to using as many rare candies as I am, there's 2 different downsides. The first is obviously I have to pick up 2 extra rare candies. The 2 extra ones I grabbed are the Route 6 candy, back when I was catching like Vulpix and Jigglypuff, as well as the Mount Moon candy, which I got because I grabbed both Moonstones. Normally you don't grab them both, so you don't get the rare candy there. However, it's also going to waste time because of friendship. So friendship is a thing in Pokemon. If you were paying attention back in like Hideout to Pokemon Tower, every time I used the super effective move at that point, Eevee would turn around and be like, Eevee knew you could do it, or something like that. I forget what the text says, but it's some like flavor text, and there's like a little animation where Eevee turns around. That's because Eevee's friendship got above a certain value, and it's going to react to things like that. It's also going to have the ability to do things like survive a hit at 1 HP when it was going to die, or if it's status, like let's say it's poisoned, it has a chance of healing itself up. We're going to be using a lot of super effective moves with Starmie, so having those extra turnarounds is what I call them, the friendship turnarounds, is kind of bad. So we'll end up getting those a couple fights early if we use as many rare candies as I'm going to now. But for safety, it's totally worth it. It does waste about 2 seconds per turnaround, though. So like a fight like Bruno, where we're using 5 super effective moves, you lose like 10 seconds on. Alright, so now we're just going to go ahead and beat up all the gyms. The only bit of plot we haven't done, aside from gyms, is Silphco. And that's what we'll be doing right after this section. Silphco is necessary because Sabrina's gym doesn't unlock until after you beat... you like go through Silphco. In terms of gym requirements, because we were talking about that as a big thing at the beginning of the run, Blaine's gym requirement was to get the secret key, the same gym requirement as Generation 1. Surge's gym requirement is to cut the bush in front of the gym. That is it. Basically, reach the door of the gym. That counts. Erica's gym requirement here is to have a cute Pokemon, and every single Pokemon works. It's, I don't know, I guess beauty's in the eyes of the beholder, so if it's something you think is cute, the game thinks it's cute as well. After Erica is going to be Sabrina. Sabrina's gym requirement is actually kind of a tricky one if you don't have a plan for it. In order to get into Sabrina's gym, you need a Pokemon that's level 45 or higher. And if you remember when we ditched Jeff, R.I.P. Jeff, he was level 30. So getting a Pokemon that's level 45 for Sabrina is kind of difficult. We happen to have Starmie now, but if you're just playing along normally and go into Saffron City, beat Silphco, and then go to Sabrina's gym, you could be like level 35 or 40 and still have to get 5 extra levels. Koga's gym requirement is the 50 Pokemon, like we mentioned, and like the whole run has basically been built around is that gym requirement. And then Giovanni's gym requirement is quite simply have 7 badges. So we are well on our way. The annoying thing about Sabrina's gym requirement, requiring a Pokemon that's level 45 or higher, is she doesn't even have a Pokemon that's level 45. Her highest level Pokemon is level 44, so she breaks her own rules. Also, I really hope I gain enough experience here. I don't think I will. Dodrio should evolve before the next fight. Oh, it doesn't. Cool. I don't think I've ever done this fight with Doduo instead of Dodrio. It should work. It should be fine, but I am nervous. I'm at full health. I'll be fine. But yeah, I didn't catch Tentacool. So I caught... Doduo got like the least amount of experience it possibly could. I caught it last on Route 17, so it didn't gain experience from any of those catches. My Staryu catch was not first ball, so I gained less experience. My Coughing catch was abysmal. So I gained very little experience. I'll be fine. But yeah, this fight here is probably my favorite showcase of two-controller brokenness. So, storyline here, basically, we're all aware that Team Rocket has taken over Silph Co. Blue has shown up to try and help us, and his way of helping us is by saying, let me see if you're strong enough to take on Team Rocket by trying to beat you myself. So we're going to go ahead and fight him. We've got Doduo in slot 2. Doduo is going to basically take out this first Pokemon for us. This is the one Pokemon in the entire Starmie section that Starmie is completely walled against. Exeggutor is a Grass Psychic Pokemon, and us being Water Psychic doesn't bode well. So instead what we're going to do is use an X attack on Doduo. And Doduo is going to Drill Peck. Look how close Doduo is to the next level. Alright, cool. I still KO'd. That, I believe, is a range, so the fact that I got it is nice. And then, now that the Exeggutor is down, Starmie can handle the rest of the fight. So yeah, it's a really cool way that we can use both Pokemon to take on a fight with two controller. Alright. This next fight here is... Well, I'm evolving something, but this fight here is probably the most RNG heavy fight in the run. And it is the one that... It's the one that when you get to... And if you're on a good pace when you get to this fight, you are really, really hoping that things go your way. We meet Archer again, and this time Archer, in addition to his Weezing and Golbat, has added an Electrode. And if you remember, Electrode isn't something we're really suited for from the Ted fight that I mentioned. To make matters worse, we are forced into a double battle, but not a double battle that we are in control of everybody. We're forced into a double battle with our rival. And he doesn't always do what we want him to do. So there's a lot of ways that this fight can go. Ideally, the way that the first turn happens, there are three possible outcomes for the first turn. Either Electrode uses Self-Destruct and Muck uses Protect. Electrode uses Self-Destruct and Muck doesn't use Protect. Or Electrode uses Thunderbolt against us and Muck does whatever it does. Ideally, we get Self-Destruct, no Protect. That is the ideal fight. We will see what happens after this lag. Muck use... Alright, Protect, Self-Destruct is fine. We would prefer no Protect. That way the Muck goes down this turn. But the problem with the Thunderbolt turn 1 is you have to continually just heal after that until you're not getting hit by Thunderbolt anymore. Golbat coming out second is kind of bad. Both Golbat and Weezing can hit us kind of hard. And the Raticate that's going to come out on the other side has Sucker Punch, so it's going to be dealing damage to us as well. So this is where we need our rival to put in work. We need our rival to just keep using Bone Meringue against the Raticate. Headbutt, alright. Bone Meringue does about half. Headbutt does a quarter, as you can see. But because I didn't get targeted by Sucker Punch turn 1, I think I will be fine. I'm at 67. Down to 35. That's going to be tight. Focus Energy, useless. I think I should survive. Yeah, easily. Cool. Alright, so now that we're done with Archer and Blue, the rest of this Silph is pretty much a cakewalk. It's mostly about your movement execution. So there are a bunch of these teleporter pads, and if you notice, I'm going to try really hard to make sure that I approach every teleporter pad head on, and ideally from the top. Because when I walk onto it, there's sort of two moments where your character is going to turn to adjust herself. The first is if you approach it at like kind of an angle, she'll like turn to move onto the teleporter pad more straight. But then once she's on the teleporter pad, if she's not facing down, she's going to turn down. So I'm going to try to approach them from the top if I can. That time I messed up the first approach to the teleporter, but I was facing down, so she didn't have to adjust herself a second time. And then this Jesse and James fight is pretty much a joke because we've got our Starmie with Psychic. There still is a 50-50 chance that Starmie gets targeted here. Ideally, it doesn't. Coughing grew to 46. That's good. All right. Awesome. All right, very nice. Alright, then final fight here in Silph is against Giovanni himself. And this fight's pretty much a cakewalk. He's going to lead that bulky Persian again, but this time our Pokemon are just way stronger, so we can take it out. That crit might matter, but we'll see. I think I got crit anyways. All right. So that's that. We are actually forced to grab the Master Ball here, which it's kind of unfortunate that route-wise we're done with our catches by the time we're given the Master Ball. But it just, you know, it doesn't work out to where we would want to start catching stuff again after this point. If you saw my SGDQ run, you'll know that you can totally use the Master Ball still if your catches are bad, but honestly, if you're at this point in a run and you don't have enough Pokemon, then you did something very wrong. Like, there are a ton of places that you can catch, like, a last-minute Pokemon. So I'm going to go to floor 7 here. Floor 7 is going to give me 2 things. The first thing is a rare candy on the ground, right here. And then this guy sitting in the red chair on our right is going to give us a Lapras. So this gives us Pokemon number 48. And then there's another guy who's going to give us a gift Pokemon because we've dealt with Team Rocket. But he is outside of Silph. He's going to give us a Porygon, which will be Pokemon number 49. So after that, the only Pokemon I have left to get is going to be Ninetales, which I will get after I beat Sabrina, because there's kind of a large menu to do after Sabrina. Do I not have... Oh. I thought I closed my notes for something, but I got it. Alright, so there is Porygon. I'm also going to do my last shop of the run. This is going to be where we're going to get, like, the rest of our X items, a bunch of Hyper Potions and stuff. So full heals, X specials, max repels. Repels are going to be useful for getting through Victory Road. Victory Road is a lot of Pokemon that can spawn, a lot of big Pokemon that can spawn, and some tight corridors, so having repels is nice. Repels basically make all Pokemon disappear from the overworld. Yeah, you have to catch at least 50, so I currently have 49, but I have 1 more left to go. So you can see there, like, I messed up the teleporter. Alright.
Can I hop in for a second?
Go for it. Yeah, go for it.
Oh, sorry about that. Discord a little laggy. Because I was trying to time it with you in the store, because we have a store. We have this SpeedDocs store, which has event-exclusive merchandise. So shirts and buttons, oh my. We have merch that will expire on Monday, September 7th. So we have a special SpeedDocs, a hourglass shirt made by the lovely Maxine, who does a lot of our work for the actual videos we work on. She does a lot of art for us. And yeah, it's a really cool shirt. Foreshadows upcoming videos, talks about videos we've done in the past. So there's also special buttons. And yeah, really cool. A lot of orders have been coming in. They help support the stream. They help support us doing marathons in the future. Proceeds do not go to St. Jude. Just like to point that out so people don't feel like they're being tricked. Just to help us do more cool stuff like this in the future. So if you want to do something, if you want to help us out, go look at the store, SpeedDocs.tv.
burn was actually kind of nice. So this fight here, you kind of want the Mr. Mime to set up Light Screen on turn 1. Light Screen reduces special damage that side's going to take. However, you want it to be done turn 1. That way, by the time you KO the Mr. Mime, the Light Screen wears off. The Light Screen only is up for 5 turns, so if it happens on like turn 2, then you have to stall a turn because you can't take out the Alakazam with the Light Screen up. So, and then once you're set up, the rest of this fight is fairly straightforward. You just have to. The hardest part is honestly just remembering to use Thunderbolt against the Slowbro. Alright, but that is Sabrina down. Alright, so we have probably the last like big menu of the run here. I need to withdraw the Vulpix so that I can evolve it. I have to actually evolve it. I need to heal, I need to elixir, I need to rare candy, I need to deposit everything else. A lot of stuff going on. But yeah, so first thing here is going to be to withdraw the Vulpix. Throw it there. I'm going to give all my candies to this thing, to the Starmie here. Pay attention to my special attack. 24, good. Use the Firestone here. This is now Pokemon number 50. Yay, we did it. Alright, so now that this is there, I can go ahead and deposit everything, but first I'm going to move some items around and heal. And then deposit. We are going to keep Rapidash in our party for 2 different reasons. Obviously, it's our ride Pokemon, so we wouldn't be moving very fast without it. But it's also going to be useful because we'll still be able to do 2 controller fights. We wouldn't be able to do 2 controller fights without the Rapidash in our party, or without something else in our party. And Rapidash doesn't really help us anywhere, necessarily. However, what it does do is it adds consistency. So when the Pokemon in this game are able to come out in battle from trainers, they're able to come out in battle in certain orders, and the order that they come out in is going to be the same for a specific Pokemon. So if I have a Starmie, I'm always going to get the same order on Koga's Pokemon, for example. And that holds true for every Pokemon in the game. So if I was leading with Rapidash, I would get one order, and if I'm leading with Starmie, I might get a different order. It depends on how the AI decides, like type effectiveness and all that kind of stuff. And what that means is, when you're using a double battle, or when you're in a double battle, there's a chance that the Pokemon come out in the order for one Pokemon or for the other Pokemon. And on one specific fight, having something like an Aerodactyl, which is another ride Pokemon, another fast ride Pokemon, having Aerodactyl in slot 2 instead of Rapidash would give you a very bad order for the Pokemon to come out in. So, Rapidash doesn't really help us anywhere necessarily, but it also doesn't hurt us by like messing with the order of the Pokemon. So that's really nice. And then here is Koga. Koga's gym is kind of annoying, every Pokemon has Protect, and every Pokemon also has the move Toxic. And Toxic will poison you, and then it'll Protect usually the next turn because Toxic Poison's damage like stacks every turn. So turn 2 of Poison is going to deal more than turn 1, and then turn 3 is more than that, and so on and so forth. So it's really easy. It's not a very dangerous gym by any means, but it's really easy to lose a lot of time here. So Protect turn 1 is nice. It means I got no... took no damage there. And then the rest of the fight is basically just spam moves and hope the Pokemon don't Protect, basically. The first fight in the gym is usually actually more trolly than this fight. We actually did see the Muck used Minimize, which raises its evasiveness. However, it didn't actually matter. Like, we hit it anyways. But that can be between, like, Minimize, and then you can get Toxic, and because you miss, and then you heal the Toxic, and he goes for Minimize again, and then he goes for Protect, and then it can be a bad fight. But getting through the entire gym with only 2 Protects, that's actually really good. All right, so that is 7 gym leaders down, 1 more to go. But before we do that last gym leader, we do need to grab the secret technique for strength. It's called Strong Push. And because there is no Safari Zone, there's this little cutscene here with Jesse and James where they find the gold teeth that we have to give to the Safari Warden. And they thrust it upon us, as the game says. Actually, wait, hold on. I need to use a Max Repel. There we go. Alright, so we make it to Viridian Gym here. Find it still actually locked. But we're gonna figure out our way to get inside. I don't actually know, like... I just realized I don't actually know how the gym gets opened. Like, it says, let's go talk to Professor Oak. So we go talk to Professor Oak. And he's like... Oh boy, here's Blue. We already met him. Learn about Megastones. And then... the gym is just open. Like, I don't understand why the gym actually opens. But, whatever. We used the repel earlier. That way, no more Pokemon will spawn for us. For the rest of the game. We don't need to catch anything else. So this gym here is actually kind of an interesting puzzle. So up until this point, all the gyms have been relatively straightforward in their puzzles. Like, Koga had invisible walls. Erica's was just a maze. But this one here actually has... You can get punished if you go the wrong way by having to fight extra trainers. So if you go this way and talk to this guy from behind, what's supposed to happen... What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to go around and then walk in front of him up above on the spinner. Like, you take all the spinner tiles around and talk to him from above, which makes him walk up to you. And then once you go all the way back around the gym, you can once you go all the way around the gym again, you can sneak up the way that I am currently and then get onto the blue spinner pads. However, if you talk to him from behind, he doesn't walk up anymore. And because he doesn't walk up, you can actually just walk onto the blue spinner pads from the top instead. You do have to deal with this fight first, and this fight can be kind of scary. This is our first Hydro Pump of the run. So Hydro Pump is a move. It is very powerful. I don't know what the exact power is. It's either 110 or 120. But it is 80% accurate, so it does have a chance of missing. And this is the first Hydro Pump we have to use in the run. There it is. Most Hydro Pumps aren't terribly dangerous if you miss them. This one is. The Nidoking has Megahorn. Megahorn is a bug move that hits our Psychic Pokemon very hard. So, you can typically live a Megahorn, but you only live one. Like, you don't... You live on, like, 10 HP or something like that. It's a very, very dangerous fight. This fight, in contrast, is not hard at all. It's make sure you click the correct move, kind of a fight. And then comes Giovanni. So Giovanni, 8th gym leader here. He's not going to lead his Persian anymore. He's going to be leading a Dugtrio. And the Dugtrio doesn't have super effective moves against us. Well, I guess that's not true. It has Sucker Punch, but it typically uses Earthquake. But Earthquake is a very powerful move. So we're going to start off the fight by using an X defense. This is going to allow us to be twice as bulky as we normally are and tank a lot more hits. One thing about like positive defensive stat stages are if the opponent critical hits, they get ignored. So if I ever get crit by Earthquake, it's GG. There's Slash, so it's fine. And at 54 health is really good. Allows me to not have to heal before the next fight. Needs to be over like 28 or so HP. So I'm actually fast enough that I can skip the X speed on the next fight. Doesn't save a turn, because we're going to be doing this fight with 2 controllers. So it's the same number of turns anyways, but this is actually a really cool fight with 2 controllers because of the way that the Pokemon come out, the order, I was mentioning with like having Rapidash versus Aerodactyl as your ride, you can have different orders. This is the fight it matters on. It's the final rival fight before the Elite Four, and he has he leads Pidgeotto and then has a Marowak, a Vileplume, and a Raichu. And the Raichu can outspeed you. And because speed doesn't update immediately, you have to outspeed it at the beginning of the turn. That means that we need to set up our X speed before the Raichu comes out. And with Aerodactyl, Raichu has a chance to come out second instead of third or last. With Rapidash, he's guaranteed to put either Hugo or Marowak in second or Vileplume in second. So, in this case, with my attack stat, it doesn't matter. With my speed stat, it doesn't matter because I outspeed it anyways. But yeah, and then we can sort of set up as we go. We need two X special attacks to take out the Raichu. And we need one X special for the rest of the fight. So like you can easily just set up as you're going, and just the way that the Pokemon come out, you're fine. It's the only fight really that we can do this with. Every other fight we have to pretty much set up at the start. And then we're going to take this opportunity to heal as well. The next fight is... While Archer is probably the scariest fight to go into when you're ahead of pace because of how much time it can waste, this fight is probably not this one, the one that's coming up, is probably the scariest fight in terms of my run's going to die. This fight is Naomi, and she has a Kangaskhan, and the Kangaskhan has Crunch, and it has Sucker Punch. And it is a range to KO with a +2 Hydro Pump. So if you're going into this with one controller, what that means is you have to survive a hit as you're setting up an X special, and then hit your Hydro Pump and hit the range on Hydro Pump to KO it. Otherwise, you are dead. If you're doing a two-controller fight, it's still scary, but it's not as bad. The main reason it can be kind of scary is, in addition to having Crunch, it has Sucker Punch, which, if it decides to use Sucker Punch instead of Crunch, means that even though you outspeed it, it gets to go first and kills you that way. I've been playing Pokemon Red lately to get ready for the Pokemon Red tournament that's coming up. And things are like slightly different. Like the placement of these boulders is different in this game. So I'm like, I don't know, I've gotten myself used to the way it's laid out in Gen 1. And now I have to do this. Alright, so, like I said, we're going to go for a Hydro Pump and a X Special. The nice thing is if I do miss... Alright, I didn't miss, but if I did, I could potentially go for another X Special and Scald instead. When's the race? It's actually a whole tournament, and it starts in a couple weeks. It starts on the 14th. Yeah, if you guys want to check that out, it's the Pokemon Red speedrunning tournament. It's going to be held on the Speed Gaming channels. Like I said, starting in a couple weeks. It's really cool. A lot of good runners. It's been a very long time since I ran Red, so I've been a lot more partial to the newer games in the series lately. Yeah, it's a pretty cool format. They're basically doing like 3-person races, and it's every winner and like half of the second places move on and stuff. So it's kind of cool. Having 3-person races as opposed to like 2 or 4 is an interesting dynamic. All right, moving our way through Victory Road. On the next floor is one of the hardest, like, tricks, if you want to call it that, in the run. There is a trainer that you can skip. Her name is... What is her name? I should know her name because I've hit her before. Alexa. And... I don't know. Of the 4 trainer skips, it's probably the flashiest of the bunch. It's going to be this girl right down... Oh, you can't see her. Well, she's there, I promise. First, we have to do this boulder. Can't push it from that direction. There's also Officer Jenny up there. We can actually talk to her and get a free heal, which is pretty cool. And our health is fine, but our PP could be better, so we definitely take her. We actually don't take any Pokemon centers in this entire run, which is kind of cool. We enter a couple to teach the broken moves to the Pokemon, but this is the only like heal that we have to explicitly take. Yeah, so here's Alexa. You can actually skip right underneath her, like that. I promise it's not as easy as I just made it look. I have a hard time with that, and there's a similar-ish trick in Sword and Shield, but I have a hard time like tiptoeing my way through those kind of things. A lot of people have to like, you know, tiptoe through it, and it's like if I tiptoe through it, I just miss every time and I get hit. So I just have to go for it and be like, hope this works. Well, it's kind of an interesting thing because they basically... This is not the first, because like obviously Sun and Moon came out before this, but it's one of the first games in the series that isn't tile-based anymore. But like, the trainers are still on tiles. And so instead of their vision being based on the tile, it's based on... It's like almost like a straight line laser line of sight. So because of that, we're able to like sneak onto the tile that she's on, but under the vision. Like we didn't cross the middle of the tile. So it's also funny that you can do it to her, but not to the guy that we fought right before her. Like it's almost the exact same setup. It's just we can't do it to him for some reason. These boulder pushes wouldn't be so bad if you didn't have to hit A for each one. Alright. And last fight of Victory Road here. So one of the main reasons why I like this candy route for like no reset or marathon or beginner runs is because there's a thing in Pokemon where, because of the way the damage formula works and the way the rounding works and everything, when you're on a level that ends in a 0, 3, 5, or 8, you actually gain a slight damage boost. So what I mean by that is if you're level 51 and have 100 special attack, you're going to be dealing the same damage as if you're level 52 and have 100 special attack. But if you're level 53 and have 100 special attack, you're going to be doing a lot more. So because of that, with my candy route, I now hit level 53 going into the Elite Four instead of basically on Agatha, which is the third Elite Four member. So that allows me to hit a couple of a couple of good ranges. Specifically, that Lickitung can be a range if you have bad special attack, as well as the Lapras on Lorelei and the Jinx on Lorelei. And then we actually, I think, hit 55 during Champion, which is another boost there. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and head into Lorelei here. Normally you would deposit and heal, but I'm going to keep Rapidash with me until after Agatha, just for an added bit of safety. Candies. This Lapras is a range. It's a very good one, but it is a range at my special attack. It'd be a worse range if I was level 52 or 51. Jinx is also going to be a range, but it's a good enough range with Scald that going for Hydro Pump isn't worth it. It's an interesting little trade-off where it's like... That's unfortunate, yeah. It's an interesting trade-off where the Scald range is above 50%. Or not 50. It's above 80%. Which means the likelihood of KOing with a Scald is higher than actually hitting Hydro Pump. Oh, I'm supposed to Psychic that. Whoops. Save a turnaround. Alright. On to Bruno. Bruno is a pretty free fight. It's basically setup sweep. The Onyx can only do about 50 damage to us, so we don't have to worry about it too much. But also having Rapidash in our party basically enables the AI to use entry hazard moves. So he has a chance of using Stealth Rock because there's a chance I switch a Pokemon in. If I only had one Pokemon with me, which is what normally happens, he's guaranteed to use Earthquake. Now he has a chance to not damage me. Damaging me versus not doesn't really save any time, so I don't care. It's just a fun little tidbit. Use Psychic there so I don't get the turnaround. So for Agatha's an interesting fight. We actually picked up a full restore, and it's the only full restore we have in the entire game, or an entire run. We can buy them, but when we did our last shopping trip, we didn't have access to them. The shop's inventories change based on the number of badges you have, so we didn't have all 8 badges. So we didn't have access to full restores. So we picked one up, and that one is basically used on Agatha, and that's it. Agatha is a fight where the way that it's supposed to go is you use an X speed. Arbok glares you. Glare is a move that will paralyze you. Deals no damage but paralyzes you. Then it will use Crunch as you use an X special. And then, because you're in kill range now, it's going to use Crunch again as you full restore, taking you out of heal range, or out of kill range, and then you can just sweep the rest of the team. There's a chance it uses Crunch on turn 1, which is why I have Rapidash with me. Basically, if that happens, I'll bring out the second controller and be able to use an X special on that turn and take out the Arbok without having to worry about like dying or getting paralyzed or anything. There's also the chance, because my friendship is high, that Sarmy heals itself here. It's rare, but it can happen. There it is. Cool. That's the best version of the fight. That is a perfect fight. That never happens. So that's really cool that I got to show it off. The way this fight went on my PB was stupid. It randomly decided to use Poison Sting, poisoned me, and then I healed myself of poison. Alright. So 2 fights left. I'm going to go ahead, and this is actually going to be the first time in the entire run that I'm going to save. Up until this point, fights have either not been terribly dangerous, or there's a way to, like, if it goes bad, to fix it. That is no longer true with these next 2 fights, so I'm going to save before both of them. I'm also going to deposit Rapidash and heal and elixir. So Lance, this is a fight a lot like Giovanni, where doesn't really have like any moves that are super effective against me or anything. It's just the Seadra deals a lot of damage, and we have to set up a lot. So we're gonna go ahead and set up to +6 special, +2 speed, and also +2 special defense. An ideal fight, but a scary fight, is it just keeps using Hyper Beam. Hyper Beam deals the most damage, so a critical hit is very bad. However, it's nice because it has to recharge, so he only hits you every other turn if he goes for Hyper Beam, Hyper Beam, Hyper Beam. And then if it uses 3 Hyper Beams in a row, you can actually heal in order to like save time after the fight. But the game doesn't have necessarily have a special post game. You can immediately just go back and refight the Elite Four. They have different teams, and their teams are much higher level. And every Elite Four member has an Alolan form on it, actually. So like Lance has Alolan Executor, Bruno has a Alolan Golem, I think, which is weird. Agatha has a Alolan Marowak. It's kind of cool. Alright, and then this Dragonite here can be a range. Oh, we got it. Wow, that's actually not a very good range either. Alright, I'm gonna be slightly irresponsible. I'm just gonna go into this fight without saving. If I die, I can just redo the Lance fight. But I have the potential to be sub 310, and I think that'd be really cool. Alright, so this fight, very much the same as the last fight. We're going to set up an X special defense, so we take less damage, and then we're going to... set up and sweep. The main difference here is we're pretty much guaranteed to have to heal at least once during the fight. I didn't heal going into this fight. That was a mistake. Okay, cool. I'm gonna have to heal on turn 1. Or turn 2, I guess. Oh, that's really good. Nice. All right, we win. Woo! The risk paid off. If you have really good special attack, you can actually go for a KO on the Pidgeot at +2 attack, special attack instead of at +4. And then X special on the Vileplume, which you might think is a bad idea because Vileplume is grass type, which is super effective against water. However, it's either going to use Reflect, which does nothing, or Solar Beam. And Solar Beam is a charge move, so you have it's basically a free turn to set up on. Yeah, it's just Psychic everything, and then we're going to use Thunderbolt here on the Slowbro. It's the only move we have to take care of it. And that's it. Time is going to be after the Hall of Fame. There's going to be like a little fade out for Hall of Fame. But yeah, that is Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. I hope you guys all enjoyed the run. It was a lot of fun. Thank you to SpeedDocs for having me on. If you guys do want to do runs of this or any other Pokemon game, I definitely recommend that you join the PSR Discord. You can find a link to it on any of the games on speedrun.com. The community is always welcoming and trying to help out new runners, so you guys do want to do Pokemon runs. I personally think this is a great game to get started in Pokemon speedrunning, just because it gives you some of the basics of Pokemon runs, but it doesn't have a lot of really dangerous fights, so it's not very grindy. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So time will be on the fade out here, and time. Very cool. Sub
That was
3.
a great run.
Yeah, sub 3:10 is really good. So the world record in this is a 3:02, 3:02:08 by me. So getting within 8 minutes of that in a marathon setting is actually really cool. I've done 2 other marathon runs of this. One was the GDQ one where it was a 3:18. The other one was, I think, an ESA run where I got like a 3:14. So a 3:09 is really good.
Yeah, that was a spectacle. Thank you for being a part of SpeedDocsAThon. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun. I'm always happy to help out with events like this. Super fun. Yeah.
Yeah, great. You can follow him at twitch.tv/eddaket. And we're going to take a pause of the cause, set up for the next run where we're going to continue our Pokemon blogs.